All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope this video finds you well. Super important topic that we're going to go in here today. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what I think one of the most important and neglected areas of the game are in amateur golf, and this is contact. I think one of the things that we as players, even me as a coach, sometimes I catch myself in this. Some of the times what we don't stress enough to players is actually putting themselves in positions when they're on the driving range and they're practicing to actually plain and simply work on where are we making contact on the golf club. And what I would say right here is there is no other club that is more important than the driver. So what I think that a lot of us do as amateurs, even me as a coach sometimes, this is just me being honest right here. So I think what we do is we go to the range and all we simply do is we work on technique. How can I get movement better? How can I change this? How can I get that into that? Looking at video, analyzing this, analyzing that. And I think one of the skill sets that we start to lose as players is we forget about the importance of where is contact actually supposed to be at on the face. What are the variables that help us control contact? What are ways that we can work on it to make it more accessible? And what is it that we need to know specifically with the driver? I think the driver right here, hands down, it's one of the most important golf clubs that we have in our golf bag. It sets the tone to 14 out of 18 holes, generally speaking. I view it as the most important piece of equipment in a player's bag. That's just me as a coach. That's what I think. And I think one of the areas that we need to practice mostly is how do we make consistent contact with it? Because if we make consistent contact, we're probably going to get a pretty consistent ball flight out of it. So if we look at the variables that go into the driver right here, I think the first thing we need to comprehend is the roll and bulge of the face and gear effect. So if we look at this club right here, so I've got this Titleist TSR3, 9-degree head, neutral setting, A1. So the first thing that I know is right here out of the center of the face, this is where this club has 9 degrees of loft. Now, if we work this on a vertical axis here, the more I work this tee up higher on the face, the more the loft is going to go up. So the loft actually starts to rise as we work away from the center of the driver. So the loft is starting to increase. So if we get contact points higher on the face, ball is typically going to launch higher. Okay? If we take this and we work this down vertically down towards the bottom, we can see the loft of this tee, or where the direction this tee is pointing, is actually lower here. And we can do the same thing now on a horizontal axis. If we go from the center of this and I go out towards the toe and I run this along, we can see that tee is pointed well out to the right now. So this face is rounded in this direction, and it's also rounded this direction. The more I take it horizontally left, the more the tee starts to point left. So that's going to help us, or it's going to change the direction the ball starts. It's also going to change the spin axis on the golf ball. The more out on the toe we hit it, the more the spin axis tilts the opposite direction. Opposite happens when we hit it on the heel. The lower we hit it on the face, the lower it's going to launch. The higher we hit it on the face, the higher we're going to launch it. So that is one of the first things that we actually need to know, is that contact point on this club face is going to have a massive amount of what the golf ball is actually doing. Now, when we go into comprehending, I would say, the motion of a driver, here's the way that I like to describe this and relate this to players, because I think it is extremely important where we place our ball position for a very specific reason, and how we can access the center of the face more, and also lining up the swing direction and the center of mass of the golf club right here. So if we go face on right here and we take this line right here, the first thing that I like to explain with driver in regards to low point is, again, I refer to the center of the golf club as the ball joint at the left shoulder. So the left shoulder. So this right here is where this would be working on an arc model. So if I went right in here and I took this piece right here, I would work this back. The golf club would swing back like this, and it returns to here. So the neat thing about low point right here that we can use as players is low point is also generally, or low point is 90 degrees to what our target line would be. So this is something that I can use right here as a visual aid. Also knowing driver, to access the center of the face, if I place the ball on low point and I'm a perfect swinger of the golf club, that is going to be a neutral attack angle. That's going to be 0. Me personally, I don't mind 0. I'm not saying that 0 is going to be our optimum to get everything out of the golf ball, but if we go into this scenario right here, 0 is going to give us a chance, I would say, to hit the center of the club face more. So number 1 is comprehending ball position. So for me, I'm going to take driver and I'm going to set the ball position up in line with where my lead shoulder is. So that's what I have right here, this stick on the ground. I refer to this as low point. That is 90 degrees to my target line. So I know that this golf club is going to arc back like this. And when it returns to there, it should be at 0 before it starts to arc up and around to the left right there. That right there makes it easier for me to comprehend how the golf club is going to get swung. What I see out of a lot of people, a lot of times with drivers, we get the golf ball too far back in our stance. So if this is set here on low point, we might be hitting down on it. It might be changing the direction that we want to move the body to try and get an optimal launch condition. And then we're going to likely struggle with contact location. So first thing, comprehending where is low point, setting the ball up on low point is a very good start. The next thing that I would go into to making better contact with a driver, tee height. I think a lot of us, because we see tour players that are launching it high, carrying it 320 yards, we think that we've got to get this tee in the ground to where it's really high, and we've got to get set up way behind it like this and swing up on it as much as possible. Well, the problem with this is if we're going for strictly contact, okay, if we're going strictly for contact, if I have the ball on this tee right here and it is this high, and let's say I'm moving the golf club up tremendously, it is actually harder to align the sweet spot of the golf club with the center of the golf ball and our target. I think it's easier to actually align it more level to the ground. So if we're the player that's struggling with contact, my first thing is I'm going to say tee it down. I'm going to tell you to learn how to access the face by teeing it a little bit lower. So this tee right here, if you can see it, it's got 2 green lines. I'm going to tee it up at the bottom of this green line right here. So there's the first place that I'm going to go. I'm going to tee it up down in there. So I know now from here, arc model golf club is working around the left shoulder. This is going to be here. Okay? So I know if this comes in on this plane right here, this has a long time. We can see there from face on how long this golf club is actually swinging at the ball. So we're aligning the application of force at the ball and at the target for a longer time. That gives us better odds in striking center of the face. So we've got low point and we've got ball position. Now the next thing that I think we need, this is where we can turn this into a game. We can turn this into a performance practice station. We're going to challenge ourselves by practicing contact on the face. Here is your easiest training aid. Okay? I see a lot of coaches use this and I think it's brilliant. So if we take this, so this is Dr. Scholl's odor foot spray right here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to spray this on the face. Now what I'm going to do for this game is I'm going to set boundaries for myself. So I know that I want to access the center of the face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 golf balls and see how close and if I can fit them inside of a variance. So if I drew a line down that part of the face, down that part of the face, okay? That's going to be my parameters for my practice session right there. How many golf balls? For me, I'm going to take 3, but how many golf balls can we actually access the center of the face? So I'm going to go ahead and hit 3 balls. We're going to get right back to you. Okay, so when we look at the place that I accessed on the face, pretty darn centered for the most part. It was a little bit on the low heel side. That for me, I don't mind. I don't mind fading the golf ball, but what we'll notice is the consistency of what the pattern is. This is something that we need to be able to practice here as players more often, is practicing where are we actually striking the golf ball in relation to the face. What I would tell you today, set a floor height. See how many in a row you can get inside of those parameters, and as those parameters get easier, we start to make it tougher. We might draw lines on the top of the face and the bottom of the face, make these areas smaller so that we're actually aiming small, missing small, and we're actually practicing where our actual contact location is. So to become a better driver of the golf ball, I think one of the things that we have to do as players is, one, know where we hit it on the face, have a system in place that actually gives us the ability to comprehend the swing. This is where I refer to low point and how the club arcs around us. And that's why I place the ball position where I place it. Number two, tee height. If we're not hitting it solid, don't tee it up higher, let's tee it up lower. Number three, put yourself in an environment to where you can actually practice making contact in the center of the face and you're getting feedback. This is a way we can do this without spending X amount of dollars on TrackMan or a launch monitor of that sort. This is a way we can do this at our local driving range. The foot spray is nothing. So take that to heart. I hope this helps you comprehend the importance of impact, why we should practice it, a few different ways that we can look at it to help bring the golf ball closer to that sweet spot. If you guys have any questions, please leave those in the comments down below. I will make sure I get back to each and every one of you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this video here. If you haven't, please click that subscribe button. You can also click the bell right there, and that's going to notify you every time that I release a new YouTube video. Also, if you haven't, check out that last video that I did. It's right here, pinned to the screen. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave those below, and I will make sure I get back to each and every one of you. So, thank you again. Appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.